Hi all, welcome back to the final whistle then for the late night whistle again. And tonight, I think we've got a bit more to discuss regarding how Marty Cifuentes sort of goes about his squad. We might do a keep, a loan, sell, little thing. We're going to talk about these three players, Bilal El Khannouss, Mads Hermansen, Wilfred Ndidi. We're also going to discuss, what is this man thinking here? Who's he got his eye on? That's what I want to know. There's no proof in the pudding too. He actually has got his eye on. I mean, maybe a nice bit of paella or a bit of tapas on the table. But no, we're going to discuss it. Clibo, how are we? Hope you're good. Yeah, good to see you with me. Clibo, I've sent you the link, mate, via your email. So whenever you're ready to come in, mate, feel free. Hello, Ez. Hello, Kuno. Hello, Craig. How are we? Easy Tribe, how are we, mate? Hope you're good. Yeah, the link is in for anyone who wants to join. So I'm going to be joined by my good mate, Steve, actually. So here he is. Steve, how are we, mate?
Yeah, not too bad, Jack. Yourself?
I'm all right, mate. Right, Steve, what's been your first impression so far with Marty Cifuentes?
Well, I think he speaks well. He looks like he's very interested in the job, which you'd hope, considering he took the position itself. I think, like, the biggest thing, the takeaway that I get from it is that he obviously has a clear philosophy, which is great, because you need a manager that can come in and say, this is how I want to play. And looking at the first couple of videos we've had out, he's getting involved, which is what I like about a manager. I don't want a manager that will sit in the office and overlook it and let the assistant do it all. I want somebody to be there on the training pitch, looking at the players, assessing the squad, and picking who he wants to stay and who wants to leave.
Steve, they've now gone to Austria. All the squad's gone, by the way. There's no one look like they're leaving or coming in anytime soon at Leicester City, but what does that show for Marty Cifuentes? Does that show that he's actually wanting to look at what he can work with, what he can't? It really gives him a good look at where he needs to strengthen with his transfer window.
Yeah, obviously taking as many players as you can so you can have a good look at them is ideal. Because, I mean, if I came into the club and I'd be like, first of all, meeting with the players, who wants to stay, who wants to leave. And if you wanted to leave, I'd say, okay, you're not training with the squad anymore. Go find, the clubs that you want to play for. But that's it. You're not playing for the club anymore. That was what I'd do. But clearly, you can't do it as a professional football manager. So taking every player you can to assess them properly, to find out who he wants to keep, who he wants to loan out, who he wants to sell, is a good thing. And I don't think you should. Well, I would, and the whole fan base, knows who we want to get rid of and who we want to keep. But I guess as a new manager, you've got to give these players the chance to prove that they want to be here or not. So I guess it's a good thing more than anything. But I just hope that he comes to the same conclusion as a lot of us and says, oh, quite a lot of them can bugger off, to be honest.
Well, we've got Gielan Balaguer back. He's wrote his post today. Actually, let me get that Twitter post up because I know a lot of people have commented on it. I mean, some people thought they were glad to see the back of him, but
yeah, I was glad. I don't want to see him.
Mads Hermansen, though, is back in training.
Yep,
he's back in training.
For how long?
Well,
I still think he won't be here by the end of the window. We can clearly see that that's the case.
This is why we're thinking, because when I was actually looking at him the other day, I was thinking, where is he? Like, what's going on? Was Podcast Cody on flight? He was, yeah. He is there, by the way. Rangers and Leicester have not come to any sort of agreement yet. It doesn't look like that one's as close as Daily Record have sort of thought about it, have they, Steve, to be honest? Because there was a lot of advanced talks. There's this, there's that. But then all of a sudden, Daily Record were like, was he actually travelling? Did he actually take part of training? Which the proof is in the pudding. He actually did. And he is in Austria. So how much do you sort of read into that with what the Daily Record have put out of how close that deal actually is? Because at the minute, it doesn't look like it is.
Well, I would say the good thing about that is if you've got a player potentially requesting to take time off so he can get a deal done, and the club say no, maybe that's them stopping giving into player power now. You know, it was a big issue in the past in regards to players going above the manager and talking to the higher ups. And if it's a case where the manager said no, you know, you're coming on the tour. If they haven't been accepted, great, you can then go. But until that is agreed, you're our player and you'll travel with the club. So I think it's good. I'd rather have a manager that is a sort of strong-willed person than giving in to anybody when they want to.
Was Vestergaard on the plane? He was. It was. I heard him walking the dog around the airport at the time, waiting for it to come. So, I don't know. Clivo, how are we?
Well, I've just got finished, mate. I'm trying to renovate my house, so apologies for the lateness.
It's all right, mate. You look like you're doing a lot more work than what Leicester City are doing in the transfer window at the minute, Clivo. At least you're getting things sorted. But the club, on the other hand, while they've managed to actually get a manager in, finally, it's now about how long it's going to take to get players in and getting rid of players.
Well, I'm not too worried about the incomings. I think we're light on a couple of strikers. I think we need one first-team striker, and I think what we've got as backup we'll probably do in the Championship. So if we do sell anyone, I'd like to think that they will back him with a striker. But I'm not concerned about the rest of the squad, to be honest with you. If they'd have done a transfer ban as opposed to a points deduction, I'd have been okay with that.
Fair enough. Yeah, Steve, what do you think what Clivo said?
Oh, I agree. I mean, I have a strange feeling that we're going to sign Josh Windass. To be honest, he's obviously a free transfer now after leaving Sheffield Wednesday today, so I can see that sort of player we'd go for. But no, I agree. I think that, you know, if we were under a transfer ban, then it'd be better because we have a fairly decent squad. I still think it's in the top three in the Championship, if not the top two, because Southampton are a bit hit and miss. So yeah, I'd be fine if they gave us a transfer embargo. Go ahead. You know, I'm not worried. I still think we'll be there or thereabouts come the end of the season.
Yeah, Frankie said, say one permanent striker brought in and at least one loan too. Thomas is saying Leicester have been looking at James Ward-Prowse. Would you take James Ward-Prowse at Leicester, any of you lads? Or
how old is he?
Quite big.
I mean, I think the only good thing he's good at is free kicks.
How old is he anyway?
Normally
28, 29?
Normally this is Steve's job. Steve normally analyses it.
Yeah, I haven't got my laptop with me at the moment. It's let me go grab it. I'm back in a sec.
Let me have a look how old he actually is. So James Ward-Prowse is 30.
We don't need it. We don't need it because at the end of the day, he'll come here again. It'll be another one on a
yeah.
You know, last payday, 3-year contract. No. It's taking somebody else's place that you know, whilst we're in the Championship, we can afford to develop players. If in the Premier League, we wouldn't have had that luxury. You know, maybe if we took the Prem, you could see the rationale. But for me, I don't think we need to strengthen that much in that area.
I
particularly
agree.
A year-old.
Let's have a look what Marty Cifuentes has been up to today in training. Then.
Yes, go on. Keep it here. They're not coming. Keep it. Once they come here, now I play here. And now I come, I can use the 3 touches here. No problem.
What's your thoughts on that, Clibo?
I like him. I do like him. I like his style. I like the way that he's very matter of fact. He knows what he wants. He's direct with the players. They seem to be responding. I've seen quite a few clips of the training today, and they look like they were working their asses off. And but they look sharp, you know. They look sharp. He's saying things like, "From the word go, I want this," you know, and I like that. I like that. And there's been quite a lot of negativity around this appointment from various streams that I've heard. And although it's not the majority, I'm still a little bit confused as to what people actually wanted and expected.
Yeah. The thing is,
I heard somebody say they wouldn't have Pep on a certain
you joking?
media outlet. Yes.
Why would you not have Pep at Leicester?
Well, I mean, I was walking the dog and I nearly choked laughing.
Tell you what, it'd be a challenge in itself for him, because that guy is, I don't know, at Man City he's had the money in that, hasn't he? At Leicester, it'd be an whole different landscape of anything.
It was, but it was to do with the style of play, not the person. You know.
Oh, there we go. We've got Steve back.
Yeah, sorry. Jump onto my laptop and my headphones won't connect. And then I realised that I coughed without muting myself, so apologies.
Steve, what were your thoughts on what someone said? They wouldn't have Pep at Leicester.
Sorry, say that again?
Someone said that they wouldn't have Pep Guardiola at Leicester.
Oh.
I said to Clipper it'd be more of a challenge ever in his footballing career managing us, let's be fair.
It would, but the issue, well, I guess the good thing about having Pep is that he would change the whole sort of backdrop of the club. Because you have to bear in mind that when he went over to Man City, they were prepping for 3 or 4 years to get Pep at that point, because they brought in a lot of directors that were at Barcelona, a lot of scouts and stuff that worked with him previously. So they laid the groundwork for him to come in. Whereas if we were to do that, he'd just turn up and go, right, this is shit. He'd struggle at Leicester, but then again, I think quite a lot of managers would struggle at Leicester. That, you know, I because of the backdrop with the board and the director of football and that sort of thing with the running of the club. So yeah, I think anybody would struggle really, and it'd be interesting to see how Marty gets on this season. He's no Pep, but you know he could struggle himself.
It was a quote born out of the style that he plays, though.
Yeah. That is something that I think we're quite strong in with the players we've got. You know, with Enzo coming in and signing those players, and quite a lot of them still being here. That's a good. That is the sort of the Pep way in a sense. There are slight differences between Enzo and Pep. So with Marty being more pragmatic, I think if not that Pep would ever come, it's hypothetical. But if he was to come, he'd have some players that were at the club already that could play in that system for sure.
Someone talks about a Claude Puel.
I feel sorry for Claude, you know, because I think he got. I mean, don't get me wrong, he was going to be sacked for the West Ham game.
Football was awful.
Yeah, the football was awful for sure, and he was going to get sacked before that West Ham after that West Ham game.
I'm glad you went to Leicester City fan, Thomas, mate, 'cause I think you disagree with it. Do you think we might tempt Callum Wilson? Yes, that's a no-go for me.
Yeah, too old.
It's another one who's bloody 30 or Clipper ain't behind none of that.
No chance.
Simple answer.
He's 43 and he's injured quite a lot.
That's what I mean. The guy's on bloody big, hefty wages. We wouldn't learn our lesson, would we, doing that? And that's the thing. But you look. It is
getting to a point where older players, I can see it happening, where we get to a point where these older players will not get these contracts anymore. And I think it's high time that did happen. It's not like back in the day where players were on 500 quid a week and they were going, you know, their swan song was to get a nice little contract for 2 or 3 years on you know, a half decent wage. It's not like that anymore. These guys are multi-millionaires by the time they get to 33, and they're trying to drag it out on on a brand, their name. I just think it's a little bit rich because they're clearly not what they were, yet they're demanding money that on the premise that they were what they were 10 years ago. I think it's greedy, and agents have got a lot to answer for where that's concerned.
Cifuentes brought what six young players through at QPR, so. I mean, we've got a lot of youth development here, which we speak about quite highly. And obviously, they've all gone to Austria with Leicester. So I think that gives him a good sort of stance as well, don't it, Steve? With the young players like Monga, Louis Page is gone, Jaden Joseph's there. It gives him a good chance to actually think, you know what, some of these could be better than the experienced lads already in the team.
Yeah, I think it's good to assess the players that are going and to find out if they are ready or not. My biggest issue with the younger lads is that not many of them have made a professional appearance as of yet. You know, they are still young and they still need time to bed in. And the difference between a friendly against Leuven or Cologne or Cologne, or whoever, is that it's different to a Wednesday night in Middlesbrough, you know, when you need to win because you need the 3 points to go towards promotion, and a friendly game. And if you can look at the lads now and think, okay, you know, they can be ready, great. But if they're not, then, you know, at least they know they've been in the first team, around the first team. They know what to expect and the quality that we need to be at. They can go back down to the under-21s because some of them can't be sent out on loan because of their ages still. But knowing that there is a pathway for them still, which is good. So, yes, it's good that he's taken them on abroad with him. I think you'll probably not see at the start of the season, unless it's a cup game, sort of JJ to an extent, maybe even a Luco. He's 18, so he might go out on loan anyway. I'd like to keep them, but if they're not going to play first team football, I'd rather them go out on loan and get experience in League One or League Two, because let's be honest, being a youngster, being sent to League Two, being kicked around will be more building for them than staying in the under-21s and under-18s, you know, playing against those development sides.
Yeah, I think the Leuven game, obviously their quality, the quality of their league largely is probably around the same as the Championship. I mean, they weren't exactly facing Brian the Bricky centre-back, were they?
No.
Who drinks 10 pints after the match, you know, who's going to kick 10 barrels of shit out of you on a Saturday afternoon. The game was played in a good spirit, and they were allowed to do their little bits of trickery, you know, and that's not going to happen on a Wednesday night in Preston. So, although I am excited to see these youngsters play, it does concern me that I think Marty's remit with Leicester is going to be slightly different with the youth than it was at QPR. At QPR, they were in a situation where they probably weren't going to go down. Let's develop some players while we can, maybe sell a few on. Whereas the expectation here, I don't care what anyone says, will be largely to get promoted.
Mm-hmm. Steve, what was your thoughts on the reports the other day coming out about the 9 points?
In all honesty, 9 points is actually in the lower end of what I expected us to get.
Me too.
What did you expect?
12.
14, you know, there or thereabouts. Because of the free charges against us and the fact that we weren't playing ball, we were being, you know, a pain in the arse to them, I thought we'd get the book thrown at us. But 9 points is, okay, we're going to be behind, but come Christmas time, I imagine that 9 points will 2 or 3 maximum, you know, because Southampton is 6 easy points. Let's be honest, it's always easy 6 points against Southampton. So then it's only 3 points behind, and you know, again, the quality of the Championship this season, like last season, it was pretty poor, and the season before that, it was also pretty poor. I think we'll be okay still because, okay, you've got Birmingham and Wrexham. I don't think they're going to be up there anyway. In all honesty, I just can't see them having Wrexham anyway for sure. I just can't see them having the legs. Then it's just Sheffield United, Leeds, and Southampton. Okay, if we get to the playoffs, I'm confident in the playoffs. But yeah, 9 points, you know, it can be caught up by Christmas quite easily.
To be fair, they say 9 points, but we can appeal that and potentially get it down lower.
Well, no, I don't think we can appeal it. Hearing what Sky Sports said, and somebody else, I think it might have been Owen said that we can't appeal it because of the situation, because we've challenged everything. The grounds for appeal is different. If you just accept it and then appeal it afterwards, that's fine. But because you haven't accepted it and so I don't think it will actually be able to be appealed. Or so I've heard. That doesn't mean that I know, for sure. But
I think.
What's your take on? What's your take on the idea of getting the points deduction before we start, as opposed to it dragging off till maybe Christmas? Because on one hand, I think if it's dragged on a little bit and you've got momentum, knowing there's a points deduction coming in the background, you're at least got that momentum. I think having a 9 points minus puts a little bit extra pressure on at the beginning, because if you don't win against Sheffield Wednesday, there's going to be, at least a third of the team's going to be 12 points ahead of you. And that's pressure.
We're likely to get it in during the international break, by all accounts, unless they do it early. I think as long as we get it in after the transfer window's closed, then I'm fine with that. I'd rather it be, because then if you have it before the transfer window close, then people say, 9 points is quite a lot, and the targets might sort of be a bit iffy with it. But if it's in September, it's fine. It's early enough in the season where we can make it up. I think there's one guarantee for sure: we won't get hit around April time, because especially for this, we might for the other PSR potential issues from last season, but if it won't be April time this time, because the EFL don't want to fuck around with the playoff situation. Like if comes the end of the season, we're in the playoffs, and then we get hit with a points deduction after all the games are finished, we've got playoff games to play, then it's just too many legal issues for the EFL. So I'd rather it be September-ish. That'll be fine with me. If it's December, great, but ideally not August. Gives us time to prepare, bring the players in, settle down, send them off to international duty. You got 2 weeks then to swallow it, digest it properly, and then when the players come back, there'll be some fire in the belly to be like, well, fuck these guys, taking points away from us. Let's give it to them.
Do you know what? I think if they gave it us before the season, we'd have a lot more fighting. We'd go out swinging at the start of the season, because we know what we're up against then. It's bats to walls. We'd basically put a fox into a corner and a wounded fox. And it's like that's not what you want to do at all. But they're gonna try and drag it out, aren't they, and see how many points we've actually got by a certain part of the season, and think, okay, then now it's time to action it. And I think the players, they're going to know what they're up against this season. They know they're in a points deduction scenario. We don't know what the EFL is going to hand to us, because this is only the Premier League handing us the 9 points, in it. It's not the EFL. The EFL could say, well, okay, then we'll give you a transfer embargo, Leicester, in January. And then Leicester will say, well, all right, then EFL, we'll take that, because we've got a good enough side to compete anyway. We don't really need to add any players in January. Not many teams do, though, do they, Clibbo? Nobody really adds in January. You just get the crappy loans, really, don't you? Like you look at last season when we were signing players. We only spent £3 million on Koulibaly, and we never really did anything. Then you look at the loans sometimes in the summer, and it were like Odson Edouard are out there. I think Brozier are out there as well, who Chelsea wanted to get rid of, who are already injured. So you don't really get the best players, do you, when it comes to loans, because clubs don't really like wheeling and dealing, do they, in the January sort of things?
Well, it's turned into a joke window, hasn't it, really?
Yeah.
Everybody just digs their heels in. They know you need players, and everything is inflated. I think it needs changing. I don't know how. I know, like, just having transfer window willy-nilly, having it open all the time can also cause issues, which is why they changed it. But to be honest with you, I don't like the January transfer window. We've been stung a few times with it, and so have a lot of clubs. And to be honest with you, there's dire consequences to being desperate in January. It can lead to all sorts of financial messes because you're twisting, aren't you? You're going stick or twist. You twist and it can backfire badly.
Yeah, Leicester sort of panic, don't they, Steve, when it comes to the January transfer window? You know,
Yeah,
linked.
we chuck money around sometimes. I mean, we don't really the last couple of years, but when we brought Tete, Suter, and Christensen, and we sort of chucked a load of money around panicking.
Yeah, Tom Cannon.
I wonder if there's a situation where, rather than having the transfer window in January, you ban domestic transfers after September the 1st, and then you can only bring in international transfers. You know, that way it stops players in, say, because you could also have a situation where you can limit it to, say, 2 transfers throughout the season. But then if you're in a relegation battle and you want to spend 60 million on one of your competitors' players, it's going to upset the apple cart sort of thing. So I don't know how to do it. I agree and disagree with the transfer window in January because it is there for reinforcements, but also, yeah, you pay over the top. You never bring in anybody as good as you'd expect from a summer window because you've got all that time to prepare yourself for it. But yeah, you know, I don't think Leicester are great at transfer windows in January anyway with the players that we brought in the past. Has there been, other than Robert Hoof, can you think of a player that came in January that actually improved us? Mahrez, no. I guess, but you know that was if you go back some years.
Silva we waited, didn't we?
Well, Silva was someone, wasn't he, that he missed by? So he technically signed, be able to play in January, but you know he was crap. Tom
Cannon cost us quite a bit of money, and that he ended up with what did he have, a back injury at the time?
Yeah, so I can't think of anybody that has come in that has improved us since sort of Hoof, really.
No, Yuri Tillerman's January.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, good call.
That was his debut against Tottenham, was it?
So what I'm saying is a drop in the ocean.
I have trouble remembering this kind of information. The transfer windows are all just blur into one. Either that or I've got early onset.
Just forget shit players, that's what it is.
Yeah, it's true.
Jesus, how many shit windows have we had? And then you look at some of the players and you think, Jesus, going to Molawagu. I mean, didn't he get injured as well?
Yeah, he did. He did. Who was the? We had an African player who was left back. I think he played one game and then broke his leg or something. Oh God, I can't. Somebody mentioned him recently, and I thought, oh God, I forgot about him. It was probably within the last. Well, it was before we won the title. What's his name? Sergio or something?
Sergio Hellings?
No, I remember. He was a left back, and he was supposed to be. You know, again, I do know that happened, but I can't give you any more information on that. But I can't remember whether we got him in January, and he sort of played one game and then snapped his leg, I think. Or bust his ankle or something daft like that. So, yeah, January windows.
Do you think we can move on to top 6 high earners at the club this transfer window, as it would save us half of our wages?
I think that there's the restructure that people are talking about, isn't there? Like, let's go to the Championship and let's restructure. But what we've got to remember is, once the season starts, the expectation levels of people goes up, and then they forget that they've thought, right, let's restructure. We'll spend a couple of years. Nobody wants that, and we can't afford that. So there has to be an expectation, but there also has to be a realistic one. And my realistic one is that if we finish in the top 6, I think with a 9-point deduction, that's something that we should expect. Top 2, I don't think we should expect. If that happens, that's a bonus. But I think it will be a failure on the club and the management if we don't get top 6, particularly with the strength of the league this year. It's not like we've got a Leeds in there. Yeah. Although a couple of the teams, there'll be 3 or 4 teams that are quite strong. But again, I think depending on who gets sold, I think if we keep Bilal, which is very possible, and we can keep JJ, I honestly think that we've got as good a squad as any in there.
Let's actually touch on some players actually before we talk about keep or sell, loan. We'll put loan in the middle of it for the younger players anyway. Let's talk about Matt Law. He's been speaking about Mads Hermansen today. Interesting that West Ham United have appointed Kasper Ankergran. You'd remember Kasper Ankergran, who were number one for Leeds United when Steve Howard scored the header in front of the Cop, Stephen Clibbo.
Wow.
I was told some time ago that Leicester goalkeeper Mads Hermansen is on West Ham's list for a new goalkeeper this summer, and he had previously worked with Ankergran additionally. West Ham have made an offer to Carl Walker-Peters to join the club, which is not really what we want to read regarding Carl Walker-Peters, who's also linked to Leicester in the past. But Mads Hermansen is on the list for West Ham for a new goalkeeper. They are interested. He has worked with Kasper Ankergran, like Matt Law has said. But Steve, what's your thoughts on that one? Obviously, he's now in rehabilitation anyway, his injury and that he's had his operation for, and he is now training in Austria with the squad as of today. So what do you see the future of Mads being, and how much realistically is he worth?
Well, I think if you had asked me this question in December last year, I'd have said sort of 35, 40 million pounds quite easily, because he was keeping us in games and making a lot of saves. If you take into account that he then got injured at Newcastle and spent 8 weeks or so on the sidelines before coming back, and then even then he wasn't great when he came back. You know, that might be because he was injured and he come back from an injury, which is, you know, fine. But realistically, and I think a lot of our fans tend to overhype players, especially transfer fee wise anyway. You know, as much as I would like to get 35, 40 million pounds for him, I just don't think that's going to be the case. I think you're looking at 20 million pounds, maybe 25 at a push, 25 with potential add-ons in the future, you know, depending on where they finish. That's fine. It's still a massive profit. You know, we spent 5 million pounds on him. It counts as a significant profit on the sheet for it. So, yeah, I think 25 million pounds would be fine. And we're all resigned to losing him anyway. We expect him to leave. He's not going to be here this season. So, yeah, thanks, Mads. Appreciate you being here for 18 months that you played. But, you know, off you go, and thanks for the profit.
Clibbo, I mean, Chelsea, Leicester wanted £40 million before the Premier League season started. Chelsea went it elsewhere. It is rumoured that Chelsea are still interested in him. They are due to selling the goalkeeper to Bournemouth, aren't they? One of the goalkeepers at the minute who Sunderland were going to sign. I can't think of his name. Yeah, that's him. Yeah. What's your thoughts on Hermansen, Clibbo? Obviously, he had a fantastic start to the Premier League season, and then the injury hindered it quite significantly, didn't it, in the Newcastle game, and never came back the same. But he has real quality, doesn't he, Mads Hermansen? But it's about getting him fit again and seeing how he progresses again, really.
He has got qualities. That's undeniable. I mean, the game against Arsenal was one of the most extraordinary Premier League goalkeeping performances I think I've ever seen. But, you know, every dog has its day. And I don't think that's the norm. You know, that was an extraordinary performance, but some adrenaline kick from somewhere. I don't know. You know, I might get some hate for this, but I think West Ham is his ceiling. I think that kind of mid-table Premiership team is his ceiling. I don't believe that Chelsea are interested in him. I don't believe that he would get in the Chelsea team. I think that's all born out of speculation because of Pep. And let's face it, any of our decent players that have either played under Pep get linked with him. Not Pep.
You mean Enzo?
Yeah, sorry.
They're both bold. It makes sense, you know.
I think that's where that's come from. I don't think for a minute Enzo would buy him. I agree with you, Steve. 20 to 25 million. I would be happy at that. If we got 20 for him, I'd be happy at that as well. Like you say, it's £15 million profit. we're fortunate enough to have a very, very good keeper in Jakob. Jakob, you know, and I'm a big fan of his. So, but I do believe that if Mads goes, some of that money needs to be spent on a number 2. I would like to see a number 2 come in and say, I'm not a number 2, I'm a potential number 1. Because like Ward came in as a number 2 and was happy to be number 2. And I don't think that's healthy at all. And he's gone to Wrexham with under the same premise. And I think it's a bit rich, really.
Well, Danny Ward actually played in pre-season in his latest game and let 2 goals past him. So the norm, as we call it, it is what it is. I don't know how much Wrexham are paying him, by the way. I ain't got a clue on the figures, because when you ask Wrexham fans, they're like, we're not sure. And I said, Leicester paid him 40 grand a week. And that's like, mate, that's like 25 million. 12.5 million on whatever it is. It feels like really 25 million spending it on all them money just sitting there and doing nothing. But
this is it. No, he had no desire, really.
No.
In fact, when he became number 1, he never ever looked like he was number 1. But there were times when he came in as a number 2, where to be fair to him, he played all right. Saved some nice penalties and did his job here and there. But you could see that, for me, when he became number 1, he was like a bit of a rabbit trapped in the headlights. Oh, this is not what I signed up for. I don't want a keeper to come in like that. I think this Bowser or Borsa, I think he's potentially going to be a decent keeper, but whether he's ready for the number 2, I don't know. I don't know how old he is. I don't think he's very old, is he?
Still very young.
Yeah, and I think...
What is he, Steve, about 20?
He is 20 years old. So, still young for a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
You want someone who's going to push Stolasic for his place next season, don't you? Someone who's going to come in as number 2 and push him to the limit, to keep him on his toes when he makes mistakes in the Championship next season. He can be replaced by someone in a safe hand, should we call it? When you're going from Kasper Schmeichel in safe hands to bloody Danny Ward, it's like, whose decision making is that? Who even thought of that in the first place? And I didn't even believe it was a thing at first. I was thinking, no, we're actually going to sign a decent keeper here. Because we were linked with the Benfica goalkeeper at one point, and then that never ended up happening. I think he was Greek or whatever he was, Greek goalkeeper. That never happened. And then when someone said, Danny Ward's coming in, I was thinking, you're joking.
And it's like going from a Ferrari to a Fiat Punto, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Yeah. Or one of the old Skodas.
Oh.
But I agree. I think Jakob is a good goalkeeper.
He is.
I've said it several times that he needs to work on his passing, because at times it is quite poor. He puts the ball out of play quite a lot. It did it quite a lot on Saturday as well, which was really frustrating to see. Especially when you're right in front of it, and the majority of the times it came past you. But yeah, I do think we need a backup keeper that is wanting to play games as well. That actually thinks I'm good enough to start. That can pass the ball around. So yeah, Mads goes. Jakob can stay. Bring in a backup that wants to play as well, and Borsa as the third choice, maybe a cup goalkeeper, and yeah. Fine with that, to be honest.
Right, boys, I've got another question for you. What is Marty thinking?
He's thinking Mongo's just put the ball past Fass's. There. Mongo's just put the ball between Fass's legs 4 times in that sequence. What am I going to do with him?
I think he's just saw Daka touch the ball and he's going, "You're getting paid how much?"
I think he's seen Daka go through one goal and he's just fell over.
No, we shouldn't hate on him, like
I don't hate on Daka. It's just hasn't been good.
Bloke.
It just hasn't been good enough, has it? To be fair, let's be honest. Different managers have tried it with him, and he's just not stank got it, has he? Let's be honest. He's not. He did get given chances, even when Vardy at rear, but he just didn't cut it. And then Tom Cannon's getting ahead of him, and it's like, yeah, what's happening, man? Like,
you look at football around the world, and obviously I don't watch as much of it as I used to. I'm just Leicester these days.
Yeah.
But if you look at the football on the continent, it's largely played in the same kind of vein. It's a little bit slower, a bit more cultured in a lot of ways. The Premier League and English football in general is unique around the world, and you have to have a very certain skill set to play it. You've got to be tough for one. You've got to be able to run too. It's a lot about pace. And you've got to be prepared to get your arse knocked off the ball by some giant. And like I was saying to Reece today, like Ndidi, he's been in the Premier League now for quite some number of years.
Yeah.
And to play his role, he's now running out of steam where he had the youth of it before. But if he goes to Germany or Spain or Italy, he's probably going to get another 5 or 6 years out of himself, because it's just not that kind of league. Although I think it is starting to get a little bit more like that. Premier League is unique, and English football is unique. And some players just don't suit it. I think if Daka goes to maybe a Greek league
or somewhere, I think he'd suit it quite well. He has done.
Quite possibly. And I think he could go on and forge a reasonably successful career. There is something about him, you know what I mean? But
he's got the pace. He's got the pace to beat any defence. It's just when it comes to the final bit.
I have seen him finish some amazing goals. So there is something in there. It's just being able to bring it out of him in England, and I just don't think he fits. And I've also gone on record as to say, in terms of strikers, Leicester over the last 20 years, I've had a habit of ruining some pretty good strikers that have had very good reputations in Europe. Slimani for me was the one. I mean,
didn't really play to his strengths, did they? Let's be honest.
No, because they wanted someone who played like Vardy. So when Vardy was injured, the system suited Vardy. You bring somebody like him in. I think Daka's been a victim of that as well. We haven't really played to his strengths. I thought he was good at in parts last year, where he was, he kind of held the ball up a little bit, and he was full of endeavour and running, which can be a nightmare for defenders. But I just don't think he's got the game for particularly how Marty plays. I don't think he's going to look at him.
This is the whole aspect now of going forward when you need a striker, Glibbo, to be honest, because we've always played to one way out with Jamie Vardy. You look at Kramaric when he came, very good striker, big, highly raving reviews about him. Didn't really get the opportunity to show what he was about. He then ended up leaving, didn't really have a long stint at the club. You talk about Slimani, you put it on his head, scores 9 times out of 10. He's not the guy with blessed with pace. He can score with his head, hands down. It's like Steve Howard. You put that on his head, scores every time. But if you don't play to the strengths, you're not getting the best out of them. It's like Ahmed Musa, again, another striker we brought in. Thought he were going to be a fantastic striker after that Barcelona game. And that's worked out like Patson Daka as well, hasn't it? That Spartak Moscow game, he scored.
Kramaric. Kramaric. Didn't he go to Hoffenheim?
Yeah, in the end.
Yeah, great career at Hoffenheim as well.
He did, because I used to check the results, like to see how ex-players... And 9 times out of 10, you look at the score, and it was Kramaric on the score sheet.
Yeah. We missed a trick.
And he's still there now, I think.
I think he's left, has he, Steve?
I think he was. It might have been this season that he finally left. Andre Kramaric. No, he is still at Hoffenheim.
No, he's actually still there, Clibbo.
Yeah, so he could meet up with Ndidi at some point.
That'd be nice.
But I with Daka, I think the biggest issue for him is that he's clearly a confidence player, and he's never had confidence whilst being in a Leicester shirt. As soon as we signed him, okay, you got 4 goals against CSK Moscow. Or is it
Spartak
Spartak?
Moscow. Yeah.
Great, wonderful. That's what we wanted to see. But it's then you sort of stop and start. You put him in the team. You take him out for Vardy. You put him back in again. He gets 20 minutes here or there. You need confidence. You need a run in the side. And yes, he had that run in the side under Enzo, but Clivo's right. Didn't quite meet. He doesn't work with the system. With a Vardy, even at his age, he adapted himself to play under the Enzo role. That okay, he'll drop deep, pass the ball on, and then push forward. Daka just doesn't. He's just not good enough to do that. And yet, without the confidence, and then the fans get on his back as well, which is I've been guilty of it myself, being sort of like whenever he takes a touch that goes too far and it goes and you sort of go, oh, for fuck's sake, and you can hear it in the crowd. As a confidence player, that's going to hit you even more. So, I agree. I think he will do well at a German, French, or even a French team. He suits that loop pretty well. But at Leicester, I just think his time is up. And knowing us, we'll reject a 5, 6, 7 million pound bid for him, and he'll go for free in the summer.
He's been here, 4 years?
Yeah.
That's what I mean. 4 years, and he's not really cut it, has he, to be fair?
No, I mean, I can't really see anyone. Well,
we're not going to get big money for him. He's only got a year left on his contract.
But it will all. So if we get a bid that's above, I think it's 2.5, it'll count as profit on this year's books, because you over 5 years of his contract for the signing that he. But 22 million, was it, or
23 mil, Stephen. When
23,
I put it,
So
said it ruined your day.
Yeah. Oh, God. But
how much are we going to get back is the question.
Well, I think we could probably get 5 for him, really. If Bournemouth were willing to pay 9 last summer, 5 this summer for him is a bit of a steal for a lad that's still.
Wouldn't you, to be fair?
Yeah, and he's still young as well. He's got plenty of time left in his career.
I'd take 2.5 for him.
How many games has he played? I don't know.
At this point, I don't think that's relevant anymore. I think I would like to see Daka move on, and I will wish him all the very best.
Yeah.
Having met the guy,
he's a nice bloke. He's right
super
personality in that. It's just he hasn't really cut it.
Yeah, I just hope he goes well. If it's right what you're saying, 2.5 million puts us, bit of profit. I'm okay with that. I just don't want to see the guy be put in next season as the number one. I think it's too late for that now. And if as soon as he misses one, he hasn't got credit in the bank, and he's starting on empty. And I think it's
and bear in mind that he's been here for 4 years. He's played 121 games and he's scored 23 goals, and 4 of them were in Moscow. So 19 in 120 games. It's not a good return for a player you spent a lot of money on.
No,
too.
And I get the biggest elephant in the room here is Jamie Vardy. Nobody was going to take his place at Leicester, And if we'd stayed up this season, he probably would still be here as well, and be relying on him in the Premier League. So, the main thing is that he's gone now, and it gives that new striker who hasn't been here before the chance to breathe. And you can miss 2 or 3 chances when you've not got Jamie Vardy breathing down your neck.
I certainly wouldn't give the new striker. I would retire number 9 for a year to give the new striker, just not to have that ghost on his back.
Especially when he turns up for training games as well.
Yeah. I mean, fortunately, he knows most of those players, and they know him, and he's trained with them. Yeah. But if it had been a new player with a number 9 shirt on, I mean, you can imagine the different emotions that people will be feeling. Him, the players, the crowd. Very strange.
It's a heavy
but
shirt.
All it takes is that goal on the first game of the season, where he wheels off to the cop, knee slides into the corner, cracks his ACL. That's what we're looking for now, the new number 9.
We're definitely looking for a goal. Take the goal.
I honestly think we'll be going after Josh Windass. I really do. he's a free agent now, as I said earlier. He knows the league pretty well. Still fairly young. I think he's not that old still.
Yeah.
Um,
They have had a look at that Greek striker, though, haven't they?
He's too much money, isn't he?
Panathinaikos. He's cheaper now than what he was when we first went for him last summer. What was he like last summer, Steve? About 20 odd million then. He's now what about? Deep?
Yeah, and didn't he get? No, he scored against England, didn't he? He scored an assist against England. They looked really good.
Both to see Ndidi,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't think we're going to be spending £15 million on a striker. I just don't think the money's there. I think this season they spend the smallest amount possible.
Aren't they, in free agents?
Yeah, because if you look at PSR, the last couple of years financially, even with the losses, haven't been that bad. It's it's the 3 years ago, the minus 80 million, I think it is, that finally drops out after this season. And then you go from, I think it was like 17, whatever this season will be, which will probably be about the same. And then, go on from there. So if you spend the smallest amount possible this season, get rid of players that want to leave to bring money in, maybe have a profit, put us in the right financial footing where if we go up this season, we can spend 60, 70, 80 million pounds without being right next to the line in PSR. Yeah. And that way gives us a lot more of a chance to stay up because you're spending the money that will then hopefully push the squad. So, yeah, I just don't think we're going to... I think we'll get a couple of free agents coming in and we'll spend a small amount of money on a position, maybe a centre-back to replace... I don't know if we get free agents... Yeah, I just don't see you spending a lot of money. Simple as that. I think the squad's good enough as it is with a couple of additions to refresh it a little bit. And then we go... Because bear in mind, next summer we lose... If they don't leave this season, Samare, Winks, Daka...
All out of contract.
Exactly. We still have... Ayew will go. Vestergaard will still be here for another year, annoyingly. Decordery will leave. So, there's a significant amount of money that are leaving off the books at the end of this season if we can't sell them. So, great. Crack on, I say.
We'd go back to the season, Clibbo, where we ended up losing about £119 million in transfer money, if you remember that, when we get rid of Tillemans and Johnny Evans left, Martis, the Unchu, I think a fair few of them left, didn't they, that window? Which window was it, Steve, where that happened?
2022, 23, was it?
22, 23.
Yeah, you went renegade, yeah.
About £119 million, didn't he, in money?
Yeah.
They can't afford to do that again. I mean, we got about 8 players out of contract at the end of the season. So if you let all them go, you add up all that transfer money, Steve, what have actually paid for them? It come close to...
Yes, I mean, that so yes and no. In regards to the transfer fees, in PSR anyway, it counts as zero because they're off the books and we save the wages.
Yeah.
But yeah, you'd like to sell them on, especially you don't want to leave players that are at an age where they have resale value. I think the issue with like Ricardo, who's coming to his 30s now, you're not really going to get. I still think if you go we'll sign him for another year, but I don't think you're going to get a lot of money from him anyway. You've got Harry Winks that is 30 this year, so again the resale value isn't that high. So the players that are leaving that you really want to sell are your Samares, your Dakas.
Yeah.
Let me get up to see who is actually leaving. You guys talk along yourself again, and I'll find it.
Clibbo, I'll tell you what, we'll get on to this one then regarding players leaving or price tag. Wilfred Ndidi seems very much in demand with all the interest from all these different leagues. You look at the Saudi Arabian League, there's rumours from the Premier League of interest, Man United and Everton. Then you look at the Bundesliga. I think Dortmund's name were bandied about yesterday. Mainz and Hoffenheim and other German clubs are interested. The Leicester City midfielder's release clause has dropped to £9 million after relegation. So how much does like Wilf mean? Is it now because he's got 2 years left on his current deal at Leicester? Do you think it'd be a good enough time to actually move him on now? Do you think he's sort of seen his best years at Leicester?
I don't think he gets into Marty's team. I don't.
Fair enough.
I don't think. I think his style is kind of moved on from what Ndidi does, which is why I've said he's had a good Premier League career. If I was him, I wouldn't join another Premier League club because it's likely to be somewhere in the not in the relegation zone necessarily, but that kind of just past halfway, below halfway. And I think his game now would start to struggle without top players around him. Whereas on the continent, a little bit more time on the ball. And he can do his old stuff again. I think it'd be wise for him to move out of the Premier League. The only thing that concerns me is the fact that it's 9 million is because he signed the contract.
Yeah.
He was a free agent. Nobody came for him. So what makes people think that people are going to pay 9 million for him? I don't know. There's a reason people didn't come in for him. I suggest that he probably wanted to stay in the Premier League. And Premier League teams have gone, you've had your day, mate. The Premier League's brutal. It will find you out when you are aging ever so slightly. It will find you out now. It's a very young man's league.
I looked at it last summer when they gave him the contract, and I was thinking to myself, is it he stayed because of how much Leicester City were paying as well as other clubs? Because Sevilla was never going to pay £5 million. What was it, a year? It's like a lot of money. And you're thinking,
yeah,
there was a lot of French clubs interested as well. I think Marseille was one of them that they were interested in taking him once upon a time. And they were put off by, I think they were only wanting to give him like £1 million a year, £1.5 million to £2 million. I'm thinking, Leicester offered him about £4.5 million, I think it was, is what it worked out in the end. And he's not going to turn that down, is he? If Leicester's offering him more, he's basically hoping that someone offers more than what Leicester doing. Obviously, that's not the case. Leicester offered him a 3-year deal as well. Works out to be about £13.5 million if you go over for it. So say it's like, what, £4.5 million a year. It's still 13 million. Still a lot of money.
He doesn't have to leave, and he gets a signing on bonus as well. So
I mean, if he signs a relegation clause, which I think Leicester would have realistically said, you know what, we are going to go down this season, but we're just going to have to go with what we've got. And Wilfred were like, okay, then will you stick a relegation clause in there? But this is the thing, innit, Steve? Like Clibo says, no one was going to sign him on a free because of how much money was wanted. He is one of the high earners at the club. What's to say someone's going to... I know 9 million looks like a steal, doesn't it? But if you look at last season compared to this, like now, it's like he didn't really do much last season in the Premier League, let's be fair. I think he was injured quite a bit, wasn't he, last season? And then £9 million, Man United don't really want to pay that, neither do Everton. They want to pay about in the region of £5 million. So who's going to really go and pay the £9 million? I mean, I think he'd do all right in the Bundesliga, to be fair. I think he'd suit that sort of project in the league and that. I think the Premier League's a lot more quicker than the Bundesliga, let's be fair. So I think it'd suit him to a T.
You see, go on, Steve.
I was going to say, I agree. I think that, bear in mind that this is all pure profit as well for PSR. I keep saying PSR, but it is because it's a free transfer effectively, because he was out of contract and he technically left the club because it was over July 1st. So him signing to the club now, any money we get for him is pure profit. I think 5 million, I'd be happy with 5 million. He's not got the legs for the Premier League. He can't do the destroyer tackling that he used to do when he was younger. And we tried him as a number 8, a number 10.
Done all right on Renzi.
But he's not good enough in that position. He's not an out and out, Cam second striker. And
defensive is better.
Yeah, and there were times last season in the Championship where we had that thing where you'd go down the wing, you pass it back, and then the Wilf would then run into the area that was free, and he'd be almost through on goal or a chance with a shot on goal. And quite a lot of the time, he put it wider at the goalkeeper. So his return rate wasn't great for that period anyway. And then you keep out players that are specialists in that position. So yeah, and if he's on a high wage, £5 million, I'd be fine with that. The problem is it's Leicester City, and we don't like low ball offers. We reject money that it's easy pure profit. For some reason, like I say, we turned down money for Thomas and Casey in the January window, which is, pure profit. Why turn it down? It doesn't make any sense. So Leicester, well, if somebody came in and said, we'll give you £5 million for Ndidi today, they'll say no, because that's just how they are.
See, he's an old head and all. Carl Walker-Peters, he's not got any younger, is he? Let's be fair. I know it's a free agent, but he's going to want some wages and all. That's why he's leaving Southampton, because they're not willing to commit.
The deal with Besiktas fell through today, by the looks of it, according to Besiktas. So apparently he was on the verge of signing. He was booked in for a medical, and then he asked them for an extension over the weekend, and they've just pulled the plug on it because he was talking to Everton and somebody else. So, I don't know. We don't need another right back, do we? Let's be honest.
No. I think we're well stocked for fullbacks. I really do.
Yeah.
And I think, like, being linked with a left back, keep getting linked with a left back. That Forest, Alex, that ex-Forest player, Alex.
Harry Toffolo.
No, it was only last week. Anyway, he used to play for Forest or whatever. But like, I was like, who? So I looked him up and I read a couple of lines. I was like, what are we doing? Why are we being linked with left backs? I spoke to Reese about it, and Reese was like, oh, I think we do need to strengthen that area because, and I can see where it's coming from. But
from Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah, that's it.
Max Lowe. It's not really. I don't get. Do you know what makes me laugh with this transfer window, lads? Is the case that we're not being linked with strikers, we're being linked with fucking defenders.
I think that's probably down to the fact we've got a new manager, though, isn't it? We'll see a lot more links now.
I wouldn't be so against it if we were linked with Elias Chair. I'd say, okay, then fair enough, it's an attacking player and it'd fit the system. But
he did almost kill somebody, though, so it's a bit hit and miss, to be honest.
Who would we take for strikers?
I want a lone striker because I think if we buy somebody, I mean, I don't know a lot about the striker you were talking about, Steve, but at the end of the day, I think if we got somebody who is a bit of a journeyman, or not really got a great strike rate, and we'd have to give him a 2 to 3 year deal, and then we go up, and then
like
he's never going to play.
That type of striker.
He's never going to play, is he? So I think have a look at a very good up and coming Liverpool, Chelsea. Chelsea surely could do us a favour here, and blood somebody like that for a season. Everyone's a winner then. And then, but we do need. I think we're going to need 2 strikers because I don't. Again, conversation I had with Reese, and none of us think that the 2 striking options we've got are going to fit. I mean, you can look at Ayew. He'll come in and hold the ball up if we're like desperately holding on to a 1-0 or something. He'll do a job like that, but he ain't going to start. And Daka, I don't know. He's got to do something impressive in training over in Austria, I think.
John, mate, I think the ship sailed regarding Jamie Vardy, mate. We need to kind of move on and bring someone new in, to be fair. I think is the decision that we made. We can't keep relying on Jamie Vardy. We can't keep looking and thinking, what about if we had Vardy? What about this? We've got to look at the here and now. He's not here, It's hard, it is. And the first game of the season, it'll be weird without him. Let's be honest. We'll be seeing someone else up front, which chairing Coley from QPR. Steve, what's your thoughts on Ryan Coley?
The rank, I've never heard of them, to be honest. They usually sound pretty good because I play a lot of Football Manager, so I usually. Hang on, let me see.
What's going on, Football Manager? I bet it's met with.
No. No, to be honest,
anyone seen the bonding photos? This is the type of manager he is. He bonds with his team. That guy can talk all different languages as well, by the way. And obviously, Leicester have got quite a few different languages. French players, Portuguese. We've got a few, and that guy is obviously learning the trade, which is good, isn't it, Clibo? To see that he's interacting with them in different languages and that, and understanding them.
A few times, I saw that.
Spanish and that. It's good to see a manager's influencing himself. And he said he can't really do it to a high degree of some of these languages, but he said he's willing to learn and commit with these players.
I heard him say the Scandinavian languages are difficult.
So Ryan Coley, he's got great hair. He looks like Wild Fast, to be honest, with that hair. The issue is,
I'm good.
He's quite young. He's 20. He scored 4 goals in 30 games in the last couple of seasons. Not great, but it's going to cost money, isn't he? That's the biggest issue.
Yeah.
Just looking at the young strikers available in the Premier League, I think we could do, no worse than getting somebody like Ben Dokin from Liverpool. Did all right at Middlesbrough last season. He has, championship experience. He's only young, and he's not going to play for Liverpool. Especially if they bring in this new striker. So he's somebody that could come in and, lead the line. So, somebody like that, somebody just looking at the younger lads, the biggest issue is that, there are a lot of shit, to put it bluntly. There is an awful amount of players that just, I don't think would either drop down or be good enough for the league. But there's Tyreek George at Chelsea, who's a young lad who did all right in the Europa Conference League this season. There is a fair amount of players that we can bring in for sure. Malcolm Eboué from Palace, could be pretty decent, still quite young.
Sheffield United that last season under Wilder, though, didn't they? Bringing in Raksaki and that. They tried different young players, and it actually worked.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. Well, you say it worked. They didn't get promoted in the end.
No,
so it didn't work that well. But
he influenced himself quite well in the Championship. Where's he gone now, Steve? Raksaki? Is he back at Palace now? No,
yeah. I believe he's back at Palace. Yeah. But we were after him for a while, wasn't we? We got linked to him a few years ago.
Or was it? It was Enzo, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Enzo. Yeah, we went. I think he went to Palace on loan. Charlton on loan instead.
Yeah.
But yeah, but he's a young winger, isn't he, Raksaki? So the issue with him is that is he really going to come in and take over somebody like Fatu or Mavididi? I can't see it. I actually could see Steffi moving on. I think there could be clubs that are interested in him.
Taylor,
he's a good player, but also the issue with that, he's going to cost a fair amount as well. You got Chuparatpom, who's been left out of the Ajax squad. He could come back. We were linked to him last season. He could probably do a job, but then again, we need a player that the manager can mould into his style of play.
He's got to look at players for the system, hasn't he? It's no good just going for anybody.
Exactly. Yeah,
I think
exactly.
This is what Leicester's done, though, hasn't they, Steve? You look at Jamie Vardy, he fits every system that every manager's played him under. But then you look at other strikers like Slamanis, your Kramariches, your Mousas, your Iheanacho's. They've never really fit the systems in what they're looking for. Iheanacho, yes, he scored goals in COVID, but that's because Jamie Vardy helped him, push on as a striker a bit more, and he brought the best out of Iheanacho in COVID. But we've never really. Now it's about finding and actually go and have a look at these players which fit the system, because you can't just keep signing anybody just for the sake of it. And this is what the mistakes we've made.
Yeah, I think the thing to say there is, in regards to Jamie Vardy fitting the system, is because Jamie Vardy was a world-class striker, and he was intelligent enough to adapt his style of play to make sure that he wasn't droppable. You see how he played under Pearson and Ranieri, and I know Puel wanted to get rid of him too early. He changed his style of play under Rodgers to be a bit more sort of team-based and still scored plenty of goals. He did the same under Enzo in regards to dropping deeper and sort of linking up the midfield and the attack, giving it out to the wingers. I don't know how he managed to adapt under Cooper and Van Nistelrooy, because let's be honest, they were god awful. So yeah, I think the problem with Vardy is that he's very much a diamond in the rough. There was, it's quite easy to say he could fit the system when he was the one that put the effort in to try and change into those systems. But right now, this is Marty's. You can say QPR and the teams he's been at before, but he's never had the quality of players that he's had now.
No.
And I think he needs time to assess the strikers he's got, to find out if they are going to fit into the system. And then if they're not, go to Rudkin and Glover and say, this is who I want, sort of style of play wise. Find me a striker, because I know that the scouting department had pivoted before Marty came in. I was told that the scouting department had pivoted to more players that were pressing. They could press for 90 minutes because that's how they wanted the manager to be. And that is how Marty plays, So we need a fit striker that can hold the ball up, as well as put the ball in. And that they don't come cheap. That's the problem. You can get a player in on loan, but, they're not cheap if you can find one, that's for sure.
Well, that's why I said, if you look at the squad overall, I think it's got enough quality in it. We are obviously taking a risk because we've got youngsters. But I think if we kind of not necessarily put all our eggs in one basket, but for want of a better word, because I think, just doing a little bit of reading up on Marty, a good striker benefits greatly in his systems, and unfortunately, I don't think we have that. So I think that's the final piece of the jigsaw. So it gives him less to do. But if we can find somebody, even look at, some of the players that were scoring heavily in League One that were young. Why not? Why not? The step up isn't as great from League One to Championship as it is from the Championship to the Premier League.
What about the guy from Wickham?
Yeah, well, why not?
Is it Kone? Is it?
You'll probably know better than me, but I know what you mean.
Yeah,
I'm not.
Scored goals for Wickham last season in League One.
How old?
I'll tell you in a minute. Steve, have you got him on Football Manager?
No, I'm just looking up the squad now.
He is Richard Kone, 22 years old.
See, I don't know what his profile is in terms of, pace, height,
hold on,
and things like that. But
he's 1.85 meters in height.
So, if I remember correctly about him, he was a non-league player, wasn't he? That they scouted and brought in because he'd scored quite a lot of goals in non-league, and then. Yeah, he's pretty quick because they did well in the FA Cup last season. Is that right? Something like that. But I know that he looks like a decent player. He scored 18 goals last season in League One. He's still fairly young at the age of 22. So he wouldn't cost a lot of money. But again, would he fit the system of? Have I been kicked out? Oh no! I'm sorry. Clear left. Sorry. Does he fit the system for Marty? I think also if you you could do I said this a couple of streams ago that it was a real shame that Adebayo at Luton has been injured, because I think he'd be a really good signing. He doesn't score a lot of goals. He scored 10 in the Premier League, I think, and then he scored sort of 6 or 7 last season in the Championship before he got injured. But he's a player that can hold the ball and is pretty quick, so he'd do a job.
Right, so I've got the formations that he's best worked under. So I've been doing some digging. So Kone is subjective and depends on specific game plan and players available. However, 4-3-3 attack, a 4-2-3-1 wide, and a 4-4-2 flat or diamond often cited as strong options for attacking-minded teams. That's how they sort of played him last season, Wickham, under 2 different managers.
Well,
they played more to his strengths, and obviously he plays a 4-2-3-1 and a 4-3-3, doesn't he, Marty Cifuentes?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know I don't know who the club are scouting. I mean, they're secretive for a reason, but it would be nice to think that is the kind of player that has got a ceiling.
Yeah.
Give him a chance. I think the last unknown player that we signed did pretty well for us from non-league. We gave somebody a chance. I'm not saying lightning strikes twice, but listen, we did all right out of that.
Yeah,
we did all right.
The rest they say is history, Clipper, on that one.
So apparently Wickham have already rejected bids of up to £5 million for Kone. So I think he'd cost about 7. Is that too much of a risk at this stage for him? £7 million is still quite a lot of money for us, for sure.
Yeah, I guess so. But I mean,
if you look at the net spend, let's just say, overall, if you were going down and you sold a load of players and you didn't have the youth, you would expect to be spending around £10 million, given that you'd sold all those players to sort of pad your team out. But we don't need numbers. I don't think we need numbers. We played 30 players the other day.
Yeah.
So it's clear we don't need numbers, but we've got this area that's lacking. So
yeah, and I guess £7 million over 5 years of a contract, is negligible anyway. It's not here or there really. So yeah, I mean, he's clearly good enough for League One, and as Clipper said, the step up to the Championship isn't as large as it is to the Premier League. You just got to hope that if that is the case, then we spend that money on him, and he gets us up, that he can then make the step up into the Premier League. But then again, if you spend $7 million on him and he does well in the Championship, you could probably sell him back on to another club for roughly the same anyway. So, it's but again, the issue is that we don't know what the scouting department is thinking, what John Rudkin is thinking, what the financial situation is at Leicester. There's so many variables at the stage of Leicester City, especially with the King Power situation going on, do we have, if we bulked a £3 million price tag for Danny Roll at Sheffield Wednesday, how much money do we actually have to spend? And if we can't shift those players on that we want to move on, okay, the squad's going to be fine because they're quality players that can do a job in the Championship anyway. But, we won't be able to bring in players for a transfer fee unless we move people on, by all accounts. So
yeah,
I agree.
We have got a fair amount of players that we could sell for a really good amount of money.
Yeah.
That are going to be surplus anyway, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Ndidi, I can't see him playing. Faust, can't see him playing. Mads, it's inevitable he'll go. The only one that really bothers me out of the ones that have been muted is Bilal. Now, can this guy convince him to stay for a season and get us up? And then he can have his big move. Because, if you look at I thought he played some great stuff last season, Bilal. He was one of the only high points for me. But if you look at his stats, his numbers needed to be a lot better if he wants to get a Premier League team. I heard Liverpool looking at him. He ain't getting in that team. He's never going to get in that team. He'd make cup appearances probably, but he ain't getting in that team. No chance. Would he get the Arsenal?
I agree.
No chance.
I think when you could have taken Louis Barry for £3.5 million, he was top scorer in League One. His injury record at Hull is quite something, to be fair. When you look at last season, when he went to Hull, it was bloody injuries galore, it looked like, with Louis Barry. The potential's there, but it never really worked out. But Clibbo, you talk about Bilal El Khannouss. Rob Dorset has also touched on Bilal today. There's always been talk, hasn't they, lads, regarding this release clause. Is the one, is the not, is the one, is the not. This, to me, says there ain't a release clause. It would take 25 million plus for Leicester to consider selling Bilal El Khannouss. That sort of tells me that there's no release clause at all. Leicester will go and play hardball because They don't have to sell him. They can go and sell other players, keep him. They can play as hard ball as the lad. The only way Bilal El Khannouss could leave Leicester is if he forces a move. And he did that at Genk, didn't he, to come to Leicester. But can the club persuade Bilal to actually stay with Marty coming in now? Because he surely'd want Bilal to be the main event type of player at Leicester now and build a team around him.
I think we've got a better chance of keeping him under this manager than we would have done with Sean Dyche or Wilder.
Yeah,
that's for sure. Because the guy knows he's going to. I mean, the guy knows he's going to play reasonably good attacking football, and I think he will be given a bit more free rein with his system.
Yeah, I agree with that plan.
Yeah, and I'd really quite like to see him in this system. I tell you what, the idea of a front three of maybe Monga, Bilal, and Fatua. I mean, it's going to kill teams, that, isn't it?
God, that's kind of like love just there.
You got to put Mavididi in 4 and all, Clivo.
You what?
You got to put Mavididi in there and all in the front 4.
Yeah, he'd be a striker, I think.
Yeah, do you know what? I think that'd work perfectly. If that were the front 4 next season, I don't think we'd argue with it.
I don't think many teams would live with it.
No, the pace to get him behind and the way we can attack things, quite the turnover from their attack to ours. It'd be like, hold on a minute, what we're going to have to double up here. And then
what you're saying, Jack, is HMS Pistol League has left the port and we're sailing again. Is that what you're saying?
Well, it could be very much the case, let's be honest. I mean, we did it with Enzo, even though it was a bit of a hard sort of bargain in the end after that bloody Plymouth game, but we managed to get there in the end. I'm not saying we're going to go and smash 106 points this season, which we probably should have under the team Enzo had. Mm-hmm. I thought that's what we was going to do. I thought, you know what, we'll beat Reading's record, and we were very close to doing it, but then we never ended up doing it, and I was very surprised. Thing is, with Beck, he stays here and rips the championship up. He could easily get a bigger move than one's mentioned at the minute. Yeah, exactly. I think Sunderland, if he goes to Sunderland, I don't see it as a step up from Leicester. I think they're going to come back down anyway. No offence. Forest, I just think it's just hearsay. I don't think he's going to be one that he's going to really want to move there. HMS Pistol League could hit an iceberg. Well, let's not think about that. That's the little stumbling block when you don't go in Pistol League, you know, when you end up finishing in the playoffs and not winning the league. So that's your little iceberg. But what do you reckon, Steve? How much is he worth? Rob Dorsett talks about 25 million plus. We can play as hard ball as we can with Bilal. We don't have to sell all our best players, to be honest. We've still got a good enough squad. What's your thoughts?
My biggest issue is that if we sell him for the amount of money that we bought him for, then, you know, that is, awful. Like, you know, but that's economics. You know, that's how he plays things. I think he could easily be worth 30 to 35 million pounds by the end of this season coming if he plays well. You know, and then see him how he is in the Premier League again next year. But yeah, the biggest issue is that does he want to leave? If he wants to leave, then you're not really going to stand in his way because he's kicked up a stink before, and we had that situation with Fofana before, which we just don't want. So, you know, get rid of any potential bad eggs. Not saying he is, but you know, it could be the case. We don't know these people. That's the thing.
Yeah,
you know, I think a lot of fans tend to think that they actually know the players, but you know, the parasocial relationship there, we don't. Yeah. We don't know what they're like as human beings, unfortunately. So, if he wants to leave, 25 million, and we make our money back and a slight profit. Fine, great, whatever. We can replace him. I'd like him to stay because, I agree. Those sort of front three with a striker is like chef's kiss. Like that will bring terror to a lot of defences.
Would be good enough as well. The fullbacks. You think Ricardo, James Justin running down them bloody flanks and that, and then getting the balls into the box and just the energy, the pace, the fitness in the team looks fantastic so far, according to Andy King. Better than the last 2 years.
Well, and then you also need to remember that we're bringing back our star boy who hasn't played for a long time. He's going to be raring to go. He's going to want to score some goals and because he's been out for a while. So I feel sorry for some of these defenders because they are going to be run ragged this season. And it might be overconfidence because, again, I actually think we can be quite guilty of being overconfident at times.
Of course we can. Yeah.
But
pleasure, isn't it?
yeah, that's tribalism. That's how we are as a football club and as fans. So, yeah, we're going to smash the league. We're going to 112 points, take away 9. Easy job. We're not going to concede a goal until Christmas, and we're going to score over 150 goals. Let's have it.
I'm going to hold you to that, though. Going to get better. Ball played fast. Was down the left, cuts in, powerful left drive. Leicester take the lead first minute of the season.
I've just said that the one thing I'm missing the most is that split second where we've just scored a goal and we're just waiting for. Do you know the silence you get before everyone screams when we score?
Yeah,
that is something that I wish we could bottle because that is my favourite thing about football.
Harry Winks will be key as well. Like, let's be fair. Yeah. I mean, Clibbo. Someone says this stream's making me hungry for the first game. I mean, what you've put forward is your case of the attack. I don't think you're going to get a better attack than that. Maybe Kone from Wickham could be the striker, and we go with a front four with Monga still and Fatawu and El Khannouss, even Mavididi,
Well, the one conclusion I've come to is since Vardy left is that the initial talk was by everybody, we were all guilty of it, including myself, is that how do we replace Vardy? Well, that is a nonsense. That statement is a nonsense because as long as I've got a hole in my arse, we ain't replacing Vardy. We'll never be able to afford somebody that good again. It's facts, unless we get Newcastle's owners. Now, I think the team that we've got is exciting and it has goals all around it. So if your striker can get 12 goals, if Mavridis can get 12 goals, if your Nelson can bang 5 goals in, like the old defenders of old Leicester City were able to do. You've got a couple of midfielders, Winks can tap in with 3 or 4 goals. You start spreading it round. And your young striker hasn't as much pressure on him then, and you're still scoring a hell of a lot of goals. And I think that's the way forward. We're not replacing Vardy in terms of like for like or one man, but we're spreading his goals around. I think because how many people scored more than 4 goals last season in our team?
Probably not many. I mean, Jordan,
no.
8.
Yeah, it wasn't many.
3 or 4?
Vardy scored. What did Vardy
9.
get last season? 9. So that's 2 players. Bilal scored. How many did Bilal get last season? And Buonanotte?
So Vardy got 13 in total.
13.
Goals. So he got 9. Bilal, you got 5. Buonanotte got 5. Steffi got 4. Justin got 2. And then Elkie's got 2. Yeah, Bobby got 2. So
4 players got goals.
4 players scored more than 4
goals. So
that's struggling itself, though, isn't it?
Something that immediately I think your manager will look at as a way of replacing one. It needs addressing clearly, but that's a way I think we can get around.
I agree, boys. Let's go through keep, loan, and sell then quickly. So Mads Hermansen, Steve,
sell.
Okay, Stolasic,
keep.
Okay, James Justin,
keep.
Wout Fass,
sell.
Connor Cody,
sell.
Caleb Akoli,
keep.
Harry Suter,
keep. I don't think we could do any. He's injured until sort of the year, so he can't go anywhere. So,
all right then, VK,
sell.
Sounds more like a bloody alcohol pop, doesn't it? Or you have like WKD or something. Ricardo Pereira.
Keep. And captain.
Yannick Vestergaard.
Sell.
I'd sell, but we're going to keep him. He's not going anywhere.
Woyo Koulibaly.
Keep.
Ben Nelson.
Keep.
Luke Thomas.
Keep.
Aluko.
Loan.
Oh, definitely keep.
Okay.
I would keep him for this season.
I'd keep him for this season. Wilfred Ndidi.
Sell.
Okay. Harry Winks.
Keep.
I'd reluctantly keep.
Okay. Bilal El Khannouss. I'd keep him, personally.
Keep.
Hamza Chowdhury.
Keep.
Steve's thinking about it.
I personally would want to sell him, but I don't think there'll be somebody who wants to buy him, so I guess keep.
Okay, fair enough. Oliver Skip.
Sell.
I don't think we're going to get anything for him. That's the problem.
We're not going bloody 20 million, but that's for sure.
No.
We're certainly not ever going to improve his value.
Nah.
No.
Not unless he turns in 20.
But he is only 23, so he's still quite young for a footballer.
We don't bloody look it, Steve.
No, I mean, his bold spot is quite distracting. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Bouba Samari.
Sell.
Michael Golding.
Keep.
Loan.
Okay. Casey McAteer.
Keep.
I mean,
Is he going to get in over Fatou Mavadidi? I don't think so.
I think he'll play an important part. I do.
Yeah.
I think he's all right in the championship. He looks this pre-season. He looks quick.
International.
Hang on. Sorry, is Planet Earth implying that I've got? No, I shared this off on purpose, mate. I know what I'm 35, mate. This is natural. It goes right. I'm very much aware that I'm bold, but I'm 35. I'm not 23, so I'm all right.
I'm saying nothing. I'm saying nothing. 52. I've still got my hair.
Yeah, I'm committing to growing it a little bit for a wedding that I've got in August, and then it's going again. So.
He's definitely seen your tweet, Steve. Let's be honest. Oliver Skip at the training ground. Sammy Braybrook.
Loan.
I'd loan him.
I'd loan him as well.
Will Alves.
Definitely keep.
Loan.
Louis Page.
Loan.
So he's too young, so we can't loan him anyway. So we'll have to keep him.
Jaden Josie.
Right, yeah.
Too young again, so keep.
Okay. Abdul Fatawa.
Sell. No, keep.
I'd keep him. Stefan Mavididi.
I'm telling you, if somebody gave us 7-8 million for him, I'd say go.
Yeah,
I'd sell.
Well, Winks being Cifuentes' style of play, I think Winks does slow the game down somewhat.
I think he'll play well in his. I think what you've got to look at is the amount of time and space he's going to have in that league and two in that system. It's in the Premier League where he's just not good enough. He isn't as quick a thought, and you've seen him panic when he was being harried down by Premier League speedy players.
Yeah,
his speed of thought just wasn't there.
Right,
and he looked really fit on Saturday. Like he was spraying the ball out left and right. He looked like he was controlling the game. As much as a human being, I probably don't agree with some of his choices. Okay, he just had a kid, so whatever. But like, if your employee says come and stay one night at training ground, you come and spend you're on $100,000 a week. You can do it for one night a week, sort of thing. Yeah. But as a footballer in the Championship, he pisses this league, so it's a definite keep for Winks.
Winks will be like the QB spraying the ball around. Well, Bobby D. Cordova-Reid.
Sell.
Free agent.
Yeah, sell him. If we spent money on him, it's criminal, isn't it? Let's be fair. Jordan Ayew.
I would keep him.
I'd keep him personally.
I would keep him. I think he'll have an important role to play. My only concern is that he came out publicly and said he wants to play regular football.
I mean, he's a squad player at best, isn't he? Let's be honest.
Yeah, he's the most Ghanaian man I've ever met. He sounds so. I know he's Ghanaian, so it makes sense. But he's so Ghanaian in the way he speaks. Just for the funny value, I'd keep him.
Okay, yeah. I mean, if you look at who his dad is, Steve. I mean, one of the best Ghanaian strikers of all time.
True.
Pele.
Yeah.
Patson Daka.
Sell.
Yeah, I'd sell him. Wanya Marcel. I'd load him out, to be fair.
See, I've got a sneaky feeling that he's going to do something this season. You know,
It's his final.
I've got it. Yeah, but if you look at the Peterborough game, everyone's final product was the same. But if you also looked, he's got a bit more about him this season since he's been out on loan. And my point against Peterborough was, one, we didn't have a fox in the box, so it was difficult to make those passes, those short passes, where Vardy would pick up. There was no height to cross to, and I think they were still working out there how they were going to play up front anyway at that point. So I can cut the guy a little bit of slack. Nobody else was doing that much either up top with their final passes and their end product, let's say. So I think that applies to everyone. I like him. I saw him bring a ball down from the sky and then just dart down the wing like an old-fashioned winger down to the byline. Loved it.
He's become more mature. Wanya has got a lot more ahead of him. Jake Evans and Jeremy Monga, boys.
Keep. They're too young to loan out, so they're not going anywhere. So
fair enough. And that is it then. Of keep, loan and sell. That's why. Let's have a look at this. Steve, I think you put this earlier, didn't you?
I made that. Yeah, I made that.
Right. Let's have a look at this. Major trophies, 21st century English clubs. I mean, that's the proper top six, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow.
I always say it's incredible the fact that
trophies.
I'm 35 in all, right? So, and in my lifetime, I've seen Leicester win, and that I can remember because I remember the 97. Was it 97 we won the League Cup and then we won it? No, 97, 98, and then 2000, whatever it was. Anyway, I remember those, and the fact that we've won these trophies in my lifetime, we are blessed, really, as a football club to be above, Spurs and clubs like that, and we get called entitled for how we are as a fan base, but we've won things. Other clubs haven't won anything, and you add the League One, the Community Shield, the Championship to it a few times. It's incredible, really. We are a successical club.
It all counts.
We run really poorly, but we are successful.
Won that 8 times, by the way.
Yeah, I love the fact that we're not just a boring football club that stick around in mid-table. There's always some shit going on at Leicester, whether it be positive or negative, and it's fantastic. It really is.
Well, can you name a club that's won League One, the Championship, the Premier League, the FA Cup, the Community Shield, and the League Cup?
Well, with Man City, I think that's about it, isn't it? That off the top of my head.
Well, we're in an exclusive club then.
Yeah,
we're in some good business. That's to be fair. Charity Shield bigger than the Championship.
No, it's not. But you have to win a major trophy to be in that game.
Yeah.
So
last 30 years, the club has been the most successful club in the Midlands.
Yeah,
it has. People still call us Little Leicester, mate, but Little Leicester have done what they've done. No one expected it. And, in our last 10 years, we've had some very good times. Reece says Man United, Chelsea and Liverpool have also done it.
What? Done what?
I think he's referring to what you said, Clibbo, about the executive club thing, about when Steve mentioned Man City.
Man United have won League One.
Well, they definitely ain't won league. I've even been that far down.
No.
I think, is it Arsenal and Everton are the only clubs to not be relegated from the top division?
Yep.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That's something, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everton have been down there most of the seasons. Oh, I read it wrong. Yeah, I think you're on about the quadruple, the all 4 major trophies.
Yeah. Stop getting
yeah,
excited, mate.
Most clubs don't like giving us respect, but they have to. Exactly.
You're right.
you also have to remember that it's technically Division 3, isn't it? If you go back far enough,
Yeah.
Is
it's
it?
not Division. So yeah, because it was Division 1, Division 2, Division 3. League 1 became Division 3 effectively. So
Is it Grimsby Town that have got the most promotions in the FL? I think they've got 15, haven't they?
Wow.
Leicester
possibly.
Leicester are joint with Doncaster with 14. So if Leicester get this time, it'd be 15. So we equal that record of most promotions. But then if we win the championship this time, it'd be the 9th time we've actually won it. So
yeah,
interesting, isn't it? We've actually won the championship the most times ever than any other club. So yeah. I put some respect on our name in it. We don't, and so we can create some horrendous records. And then we can look at the good records and think, did we do that? Of course we did.
well, exactly. And look at when you're on your deathbed, to be a bit morbid.
I wouldn't say that.
You're going to look back and think,
you got to take what you got to
fuck me
take in football. I'm sorry, you got to enjoy whatever the record.
You look back and be like, we've done some things that I would never expect ever, and to be in this situation is
let's be fair.
Yeah, and even getting to the Champions League quarterfinals, we were robbed that night in Madrid.
Yeah,
and we've been robbed a few times in Madrid, to be fair. But that Griezmann penalty that was a free kick was outrageous, and I think that if we'd kept Kante that season, we probably could have gone on to win it.
Well, Zinedine Zidane wanted to play Leicester, didn't he, in the Champions League? He said it'd be a good thing to do. And imagine if Leicester turned over Real Madrid, mate.
Yeah.
That'd be something. Who made the final that year?
Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid.
That really.
Tell you what,
I mean, that could have been us in the final with it.
I tell you what, if we had played Real in the final, it certainly wouldn't have been 5,000 to 1. And guess what we did at 5,000 to 1? So
yeah, we did the unthinkable. But,
yes.
Nah. Even with Kante, we wouldn't have won that. Well,
you can't say that.
Never say never.
No.
We
exactly.
would
hypothetically, it's like Schrodinger's box, isn't it? You'll never know. We'll never know.
If it wasn't for the referee. Well, this is it. You'll never know. Atletico match was rigged. I mean, it always is when you go to bloody Atletico. How many times we played them in Europe and we've got robbed every single time?
Yeah.
Did we get sent off in one of them? And all Clibo, or at Filbert Street, where we got sent off against them for no reason.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who was that?
Steve Walsh were on about it. Well,
Who was it? Which player was it? You have to, I have flashbacks of memories of games, but Reece, I bet you Reece knows because he's like historian Leicester. But I remember being at some games and I can remember every second of it. And then there's games that were 2 weeks ago that I can't remember shit about it. It's just
Gary Parker.
Right, yeah.
1997-98 UEFA Cup referee Remy Harrell.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a quick free kick, wasn't it? He took a quick free kick and the ref pulled it back and gave him a second yellow for it.
It finished 4-1 that night.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The crowd that night felt sick afterwards, someone said.
Yeah. Yeah. Trying to think of the actual lineup at that point. Was Big Marshy up front? Oh, here he is.
I think they all played.
All right, boys.
Steve Welsh definitely
Hello,
played.
Rhys.
Hello, Elm, you all right, bro?
I think Ian White played front up top.
What we're talking about?
Atletico Madrid, Leicester, 97-98.
97-98. Would Casey Keller have been in goal for that one?
I'm having a look now.
think Casey Keller would have been in goal. Maybe Pontus Kamark. Yeah, I know Marshall scored. Walsh assisted the goal, so there's 2 others.
Would have been Elliot Tags.
Lennon as well.
Was there, yeah.
Lennon, Muzzy,
Parker,
Heskey.
We lost 4-1 overall.
God,
who was up? Who was Who was striker?
I'm trying to get the team up. Where is it? So Casey Keller would have played in that era. Julian Watts would have played in that era. Steve Walsh, Muzzy, is it? Neil Lennon, Scott Taylor, Steve Claridge, Gary Parker, Emil Heskey, Robbie Savage, Pontus Kamark, Stuart Campbell, Spencer Pryor, Matt Elliott would have played
Spencer
for us.
Pryor, yeah.
Are any of you watching
Ian
this?
Marshall,
Sweden England
Graham
game?
Fenton,
Yeah, terrible.
Peggy Aspextad, Steve Guppy, Stuart Wilson,
Yeah,
Tony
Gulch, yeah.
Stephen Oakes, Ian Andrews,
Ian Andrews.
Zacharakis.
Theo, great player. Loved it.
Yeah.
Do you remember that
Steve?
goal he scored against, was it Man U? He smashed it from about 35 yards.
Oh, Theo
We got
Zacharakis.
I think we got thumped about 4-1 or something that day, but he put one like thunderbolt right into their top corner.
Leicester had Casey Keller in goal with Emil Heskey up front, midfielder Gary Parker, Neil Lennon, Muzzy, is it Steve Guppy, defence, Kamark, Elliott, Pryor, Julian Watts, Ian Marshall.
Right.
Just got a quick question for Steve. I've been asking a few of my mates this question. And obviously I've asked Uncle Clib. No, I've not asked it Uncle Clibbo yet. In an all-time Leicester 11, would you rather have Mark Albrighton or Steve Guppy on the left wing?
Did we talk about Steve the other day, Clibbo?
It's got to be Guppy. It's got to be Guppy. So I'm trying to move around my cluttered room because I'm basically living in my room because I'm trying to do the house up. You just give me a second.
Go on,
I would
Steve.
actually take Albrighton, to be honest.
No
I love
way.
fair point.
Like, you know, he was an outstanding winger for us. That, you know, could put a ball onto a 50-pence piece in the penalty area. But if you're going on impact at a club, Albrighton wins hands down. He's won so many, you know, trophies with us, and
I think it kind of depends on what you want. You know, I think if you're going on ability wise, like end product, I think you go Guppy. But I think if you're going for instant impact and, you know, like results, you'd go Albrighton. So it's I'm 50-50 on it. I really, really am. It's a tight one for me. I think it's closer than people think.
Yeah, I agree. I think it could go either way. I think also with Albrighton is that he was, you know, he would happily play right wing back or right back if he had to.
Yeah.
And that, you know, it's in today's day and age. I think if you go back, when you pick Albrighton up when he came to us for the first time, if you signed that player today, he would be worth so much more because of the fact that he has that willingness to get involved constantly. He's got the engine and he can tackle and cross. And I'm not saying Guppy couldn't. He can definitely cross the ball, but you know, I think for their day and age, they were good players. But if you Guppy and put him in this squad now, I just don't think he has the same impact as an Albrighton.
That's fair. That's very fair, to be fair. What other questions have we spoke about tonight, lads? What
we've touched on El Khannouss and Ndidi.
I'm just gonna turn my camera off so you don't see my face as I move around my pillow because I've still got.
We've touched on everything. There's what asked about Atletico Madrid.
Fair enough. Well, to go on the title of the video, Jack. I think, how much did we pay for El Khannouss? Was it 20? Was it 20 million?
23, I think it was.
22. As long as we make a profit on him and Mads, then I'm happy. Like if we get offered 20 million from West Ham, then I take it because it's profit. It's £15 million profit, and we need profit for PSR. Same with El Khannouss. If El Khannouss wants to go and we get 25 to 30 mil, just sell him. Just get rid. If you don't want to be here, just get rid of him. On the Ndidi, take whatever you can for him, even if it's 3 to 4 million. I don't care. Just get people like him off the books. It's a new era. We need the old guard out. ASAP. And I'm telling you now, Marty Cifuentes is not even going to look at Wilfred Ndidi to play this system because he can't do it. He ain't good enough with the ball. Simple.
Fair enough. You've had the last
I
word.
agree.
I agree. We'll see what happens. But boys, it's been a blast. Thank you all for coming on. I know Reese, it's short and brief.
Nah, no problem, mate. I've only just got home myself from Paul tonight, so yeah.
Take care.
Yep, take care, lads.
Am I seeing you guys
Next
at Huddersfield away in Preston?
Later. You what?
Oh,
Are you guys going to Preston and Huddersfield
Yes.
away?
I'm going Preston.
I'm going to be very limited due to work commitments this year, so I'm going to get to as much as I can. So who knows?
Rex,
Okay, well,
if
if you guys do end up going to some and I'm going, drop us a message and we'll meet up for a beer or something.
Yeah,
fantastic. Just like that.
Nice.
Sorry.
Cheers, Steve.
Bye, guys. I'm off. See you later.
Mate.
See.
See you later, mate. That is it from me. Take care. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the stream. Subscribe to the channel if you know you haven't subscribed to the Final Whistle. Get down and do so. That'll help me out massively. We've discussed everything. Bilal, West Ham with Hermansen, and Ndidi in demand. The late night whistle comes to an end again. And yeah, we even spoke about bloody Atletico Madrid and Leicester. So yeah, we covered a hell of a lot. Cifuentes. And yeah, that's it from me. If you watch this on playback, let me know your thoughts and everything we've discussed. Take care. Have a great rest of the night, wherever you're up to. Keep it at the Final Whistle.